Hey, what's up, geeks? This is Darron Brown. I'm your instructor from the School of React Native, and here's another episode of Working Through Algorithms. Now, once again, I mentioned this in earlier videos, but the reason I put this series together is because I know for me, when I first started mobile development and just coding in general, I understood how, like when you have a Java book or something like that, and it tells you work on this algorithm, use this for loop. But I started the series 'cause I want to give beginners, especially, an idea of how to think through an algorithm. Because most likely when you guys get your first job, you're going to be working with a database. You're going to have to be able to take that database from the back end and to manipulate that information. And for my job currently, I actually do back end work and front end work. So I have to actually make algorithms for the back end and for the front end. But anyways, that's enough talking. Let's get into our problem. Now, the problem we're going to attack is between two sets. And when you're looking at two sets, basically what we're getting is we have an array A and array B. And we want to see which two numbers that what are all the numbers that 2 and 6 share together that can divide evenly into these numbers. And we want to get the largest numbers possible. So, for example, for this, 6 can divide evenly into 24 and 36. And also, if you multiply 6 times 2, that's 12. And 12 divides into 24 evenly, and so does 36. As you can see, there are two numbers between them, 6 and 12. Guys can do this math. 6 divided by 2 is 0, 6 divided by 6 is 0, and 24 divided by 6 is 0. 36 divided by 6 is 0. And as you can see, 2 divided by 12 is 0, 6 divided by 12 is 0, and so is 24 divided by 12 is 0, 36 divided by 12 is 0. So what you guys really want to do, you want to get the largest numbers possible that 2 and 6 have in common that divide evenly into the number of the second array. All right, so let's go ahead. I want you guys to copy code that we have right here and then move into your text editor. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead. I'd like to put together our documentation as well, just so we can have that as a reference. Go back to HackerRank site. So both A and B are an array of integers. I want you guys to go ahead and copy what I have as A and B. And if you see me looking back and forth, that's because I already saw this problem, and I'm using it as a reference. So first off, let's start off with creating 3 variables. We're going to create a variable using II. Next variable is going to be count. Going to be 0. Our next variable is going to be min, the minimum. Now, first we're going to iterate through our A array. For each value in our A array, if our value is greater than our minimum, minimum is now equal to the value. As you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to console log what we have as our minimum value. So node HackerRank 22 sums. Now our minimum value is 4. And it's 4 because 4 is actually our maximum value within our A array, which is what we want to get. Hey, what's up guys? Darron Brown here. I just wanted to remind you, at the end of this video, make sure you check out the website www.geekmode.tech. There you can learn more about React Native, Firebase, and Redux. And also, If you haven't already, make sure you check out our free course as well. I'm sure you enjoy it. Now, that's enough of me, and I'll let you guys get back to the video. Now let's continue. Go ahead, and I'll keep that as it is. Now we're going to set our maximum value equal to 100. We're going to iterate through our B array. For each value in our B array, if our value is less than our maximum, then our max is going to equal our value. And I'm going to console log what our maximum value is. Our maximum value is 16, which is what we wanted to get. We want to see if 16 can divide evenly into these numbers as well as 4. Let's see what numbers those two have in common. So before we continue, we're going to take a short break. All right, glad to have you back. So let's continue where we left off. We're going to create a for loop. Our for loop, we're going to have let our index equal our minimum value. As long as our index is less than or equal to our max, we're going to continue to increment our index. So we're going to set our result equal to true. And for our double I sign that we created, variable that we created earlier, set it equal to 0. Make sure a dot length is going to be less than a dot length, and we're going to increment our double index. So if our index is divisible by our A array dot double I index, not equal to 0. If it's not 0, then that means that it's going to be false. False. We're going to break out of our loop. And if, now for our next condition, if our result is actually true, we're going to create another loop. So for equal to 0, a double index dot b dot length, we're going to increment our II. A double index has to be less than, sorry about that. So if our b double index is divisible by I, well, not divisible by I not equal to 0, we're also going to return false. So we have to make sure that each one of our values come back as true. Our lower and our maximum both have to be divisible. Have to divide evenly into our numbers at 0, just like we saw in the description. Now, lastly, if if our results are true, we're going to go ahead and increment the amount of times that it is true. And lastly, we're going to return our count. So for this equation, I'm going to go ahead and console log our count so we can see what our value is. Our count comes out to 3. Now if we go to HackerRank's website, as you can see in the example, 3 is the output that we're expecting. So let's go ahead and copy our code and see if it passes HackerRank's test. Processing. Okay, it passed. So lastly, we have to see if it passes all of its tests. And it does. Well, this was a pretty long one. It may be a little bit confusing. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to contact me. And I don't have no problem addressing this question again, in another video. Anyways, thanks for watching. And tune in, geeks. Catch you next time.